His stomach's popping.
Demon!
Back
to the theater.
Welcome back to Anime Casuals. I'm Lucky.
Here I go! This hand of mine is burning red!
And I'm Michael. Realize the only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed.
Johnny.
Your darkness swallowed up my son? Who decided that?
Erupting! Burning!
Now all of you.
Die.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Anime Casuals. I'm Michael.
I'm Johnny.
And today we're doing a spoiler, non-spoiler, our reaction reviews of the Demon Slayer movie, Mugen Train. So, first of all, we're going to give our brief, immediate reaction to how we like the movie, so you can already know. You can cut this video short, go out and watch it, and see if your review matched ours, see if you liked it, see your opinions. If you're just, looking for that quick bite going, do they like it? Okay, I'm off. I'm going to a movie theater, and then I'm going to go watch it. And then we're going to tell you what happened to us at the movie theater. And then we're going to go full-blown spoilers. So, just so you know how our video is going to go. First of all, let's get into our immediate reactions. I'm going to start by saying I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It was a home run out of movies. If you don't follow baseball, it was 100 thumbs up. If you don't know what baseball is, well, listen here. There's sticks, there's balls, who cares? I really enjoyed the fact that it truncated down an entire arc, which, after watching the movie, I could probably be like, I might not have wanted to watch that much content in show form. That's probably 24 episodes that they could have been like, okay, let's show us 24 episodes, and then we just have, little train bits where they're like, hey, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, a whole season dedicated to a train ride is... I was thinking about it afterwards. It's a little much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about 2 hours, and it does a good job of truncating it. I think Johnny said something about, the pacing.
Yeah, I mean, it just... If anything, it does that thing that some anime movies do, which is kind of like what you were talking about with them taking an entire season and kind of bringing it down into a movie format. Sometimes they just don't... They have to cut things just to make it work for the movie. And sometimes that ends up, you get to miss out on some stuff that would have been really cool if they had have gotten a little bit more screen time. But it's definitely still pretty awesome of a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I would give it a nice 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 because, perfection. Is anything really perfect? Oh. Because the movie was just everything you would want it to be. I think my next favorite anime movie that's come out in the last couple of years was Konosuba. Extremely funny, great action, and this movie follows the same method. Balancing these amazing action points with comedy all throughout, just like Demon Slayer does. So that's my quick score. It's definitely I'm gonna give it a hard 9 Netsuko Tiny Hands out of 10 Netsuko Tiny Hands. Johnny, what's your rating?
That's not a good score. We'll talk about that later. But like I said, despite the pacing issue that I have with it, it's still a really good movie, and I get to see all of the beautiful anime artwork and awesome 3D that they've managed to do in that anime on a much bigger screen. I mean, I took the opportunity the first time we saw it, and I sat right there in the front. It was huge. So it was kind of hard to watch a little bit, but the subtitles were right in my face, so it also it worked for that. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed seeing it on a bigger screen, seeing all those awesome characters and awesome fight scenes, especially later on in the film. And yeah, for that reason, I think I'll give it as far as anime movies go, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay. Yeah. So
not creepy Nezuko hands. No.
Love them, Johnny. Love the tiny Nezuko
hands. I will not.
Hands.
They're scary dog hands. Yeah.
I call them little goblin hands, but they're cute to me. So, if that's all you wanted from our video, you wanted a quick opinion and whether you should watch it, you should definitely go watch it. Just go find a neighborhood movie theater. Now we're going to get into our experience and our full-blown spoiler review. So, what happened to us at the movie theater, Johnny? Well, let's talk about the first time. The first time was nice.
Yeah, mostly. I happened to pick the one seat that would not recline. So that was kind of sucky, especially being in that front row right there. You know, I would have liked to have just been laid back instead of breaking my neck. But otherwise, yeah, it was really good. Anime Josh got a private. I pointed here. He's not here.
I'll add him.
I'll pretend
it's great. It's great.
Hi, Josh. Hi. Anyway, he did a private viewing, which was really cool, and it worked out pretty well. And yeah, it was fun. Didn't really have any problems aside from my seat. So.
Yeah, the first time was really good, and because it was subbed was our first time. Because it was a private theater, we all got enough room. Everybody was like spaced out a full seat or two away. So it was really quite.
No problems.
It was a really good thing, and it was like $120 for like 20 people. So if you can do that deal that around you, I would highly suggest it. Go find even 5 friends. $120 is not too bad.
Space that out. It's definitely much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Our second viewing, however, which was dubbed, was not a private theater. It was your seat worked.
It did. I was going to say that. My seat worked.
Yeah.
So, plus.
This is a giant cautionary tale, which, again, we didn't think we were going to find because our movie was at 9:50, right? 9:50?
Yeah, it was at 9:50.
It was at 9:50, which is, bedtime, for, like, normal folks who got work early in the morning, maybe have kids,
5-year-olds.
Yeah, 5-year-olds.
I'm
not going to stereotype you if you're staying up late, you got kids, you got work in the morning. But, I would say the average person who does that maybe is a responsible person who's falling asleep by 10 or 11, or at least home by then. So, unfortunately, in front of us was an entire family with kids ranging from 5 years old all the way to what looked like 14 years old. And what looked like a mom and pop. Now, I'm not against bringing family members to movie theaters. I do have a dead set rule against bringing any kid who's going to throw a tantrum or cry. If you know your kid's going to do that, I would not recommend bringing them to any event that requires silence. And I'm a huge movie buff. I know you are too. What are your thoughts about silence in a theater?
I mean, I think it's just kind of a respectful thing to do. Everybody's there to watch a movie, and, they want to be involved in the movie, and some kid screaming in the front it might pull me out a little bit, I'm looking up here and seeing Tanjiro fight for his life, and, then there's this child just yelling, and that's fine. I mean, you chose to bring them into the theater, and I'm not going to judge you for it, but once they do that, though, you got to take responsibility and get them out.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Yeah.
It's courtesy. I mean, it's something nice to do for everybody who paid for the movie.
Yeah, and be honest. If your 5-year-old child was in a Demon Slayer, that's all for them. That's really cool. You got a cool kid out there.
And they don't have nightmares? Wow, that's amazing.
That's that's actually true. Like, a lot of demons in Demon Slayer looking kind of spooky. Especially
just
the
some gnarly
ones.
scenes. It's awesome.
Yeah. But when kids start to throw a tantrum, don't give them another chance. Get them out of there, because remember, there is another like 20 people in the theater that are who bought their tickets not knowing if there was a child there in the first place, but bought their ticket to watch a movie. Whether they talk the entire time, whether they crunch their popcorn very loudly, it's what is expected when you go to a movie theater, is that you're going to be able to watch a movie semi in peace. Especially now with, the situation in the pandemic, everybody is at least 2 seats away from each other. So even more, it's like a respectable thing to be quiet. And that just surprised us. Luckily, we had seen the movie already, that it wasn't as big of a deal. Mm. But definitely, we were kind of making faces the whole time, because by the end of the movie, this cracked me up and made me sad at the same time. By the end of the movie, all 8 of them had left because they needed to get home. And there was a young girl who was yelling at her older brother and hitting him, just going like we need to go. They're gonna leave you behind. We need to go. And like talking in a mildly loud voice, like trying to be quiet, but you know that kind of quiet that you're like you're whispering, but you're not really whispering. You're just
whisper
talking.
yelling?
Yeah, whisper yelling. She was doing that like one row in front of us, and definitely making a huge scene where like these guys just wanted to sit there and just watch a movie when they probably should have left with the rest of their family. So
See, I actually feel bad for those two that were there, the two boys, just because if anything, they were probably the real fans there, you know, and they somehow talked to their mom into getting them into there and watching the movie, and they had like 10 minutes left, and sister just comes up and, hey, we're leaving. Smack! Let's go!
Hey,
and then
she smacked hard.
it was too bad. It's too bad. She was
Yeah.
half their size, too.
Yeah, good smack for her. Good smack.
Little Nezuko, even though she doesn't realize it. No.
A little goblin paws.
Oh. Slap her.
I wish I could. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of them. The bigger thing there is make sure if you're gonna watch a movie, especially an anime movie, remember that the people who are watching it are probably cult fans or are big fans of said movie. So possibly understand that before you go see something. It's like the same thing when like Deadpool 2 came out. It's like, don't bring your kids to go see that movie because it's specifically there to be like, don't see it if you're under the age. You know, I'm all for, parents showing like old rated R movies to their kids because some of the rated R movies today are now not rated R. They're PG-13 because they've got docked down. But fan favorite movies, maybe, find it later and go show your kids.
Actually, Demon Slayer was rated R. Now I'm thinking about it, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think of it as a rated R film, but yeah, I don't know.
It's bloody. Yeah, it's violent.
That should be a flag for some parents. I mean, again, do what you will, but respect the space.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
Hey, respect the space. That's all we're saying.
Hashtag no, don't do it.
Anyways, yeah, that was our movie. That was our movie experience. Luckily, we got to see it in sub with no distractions at all, except for Johnny missing the first 10 minutes, which he finally saw when we went and saw the dub, or at least mostly. Let's get right into some spoilerific talk. Our favorite moments from the movie. Now I'm gonna start because I've said it 4 times. Netsuko's little tiny child hands. I don't think I've ever seen them in the season 1 of the series. I don't think you get a good shot of her little goblin paws. But let me just say, when she was a normal person and not a demon, she got great hands. She looks fantastic. She's very adorable. But now that she's got little goblin paws and can shrink down, they look kind of goblin-y, They got long cylindrical nails that come out of her tiny little child fingers. And they just don't look great to some people. But I thought they were kind of adorable.
They just didn't look right. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just the fingers were a little too short. The hands were a little too big. It just looked weird. And here's the thing. Right after it, because I think, honestly, the artist was probably just drawing for so long. I don't know, that they just didn't see how weird it looked. Or maybe it's just me. I have no idea. But right after, the hands go back to looking fine because they're never in that weird position. It's a weird optical illusion where just I have hands, but I don't have hands. They're paws.
Yeah.
And it just looks so weird. And I can't help but every time I could be looking over here in the theater and just whoosh. I have to look at those damn dog paws. Goblin dog paws.
They were kind of dog paw, yeah.
That's just what I saw.
They do a fresh zoom in on them too. It was pretty funny.
They were crazy looking.
Yeah. I would say some of my other favorite moments are Rengoku. I think we both agree.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time Rengoku's on the scene is pretty great. Something is gonna happen, or he's gonna just be so gung ho for it.
Yeah. I would say the movie starts off so nicely. From leading off of the last season, just be hey, they're getting on the train, and then immediately you just hear umai, just delicious, tasty, over and over and over again, and you're oh, it's got to be him, and it's absolutely him, and he goes and he's amazing, and he ate 12 bento boxes, so much food I think that man was ready for anything.
Yeah, that's that old anime. I can't think of the word. Stomach space.
Yeah.
Hunger. Oh God.
Yeah.
You know, he's just able to really pack it down.
Yeah, he uses fire. He's got a hot
And
metabolism.
he just burns it immediately.
Yeah. But I like how the movie got really in depth with him. Weirdly enough, some of his like flashback, I think it could have been cut just a little bit, maybe to explore other parts of the anime. But in general, it was nice seeing his backstory really quick and then coming back over to see where he's come from. It was like, yo, his dad's bad, his brother's suffering, and he's become such a strong Hashira that like all the other Hashiras, or at least most of them, like respect him enough and go, wow, he couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. That's intense. Yeah, I just really liked him as a character. That he was very like All Might like about justice, and that that justice for him was like his number one ideal. Like you could look at a bunch of main characters in the anime and be like, what's their number one thing? Well, Luffy's like friendship. Mm-hmm. Friendship is his number one. But not really like friends like Naruto is. Like his was his crewmates. It's different. While Naruto is like, for my friends! And like, everybody his friend. So it's
For my village.
Yeah, for his village. Ichigo is like, I just want to be, like Goku is just, I want to be strong. You know, I'm gonna be the most strong guy out there.
Well, he has like a protection complex, I
Yeah,
guess, right?
yeah. But with Rengoku, like his whole thing is justice, and that he is one of the few who's really like gung ho for Netsuko. By this point, after the movie, like he's like, I fully trust you, Tanjiro, and that Netsuko and you will go on to do great things. So overall, I really, really was into his character. And I guess my last one is that during the movie, they dive into their souls or their inner subconscious through dreams. And we had Inosuke's, who's a weird underground area. That man's messed up. He's a messed up guy.
Yeah. Got a weird troop and cave whole thing. I don't know.
I also like that in each one, like, or in both Netsuko's and Zenitsu's. Zenitsu?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. In both of theirs, in Inosuke's and Zenitsu's, they both had Netsuko in it, but like in Inosuke's, she was just minion number 3, but he was still like kind of holding her by the hand, like leading her along. And then the other two were just going off and doing stuff. And I was like, oh, that's so adorable. And then Zenitsu's like, it was like, we're having a date and we're having a day. Zenitsu's was like pitch black. So that was, I don't know why. He's messed up. These two guys are messed up. And I don't know why their souls, like even Rengoku's was simple. It was like concrete and fire. It was like, okay, I get it. But like Zenitsu's was like pitch black. I'm like, what's wrong, man? Like people are making fun of you? Is that why it's pitch black? It's like, because you can't see anything, all you can do is hear. Inosuke's is like underground, and he's got a weird rabid version of himself running around. It's crazy. But then we have like Tanjiro, who is like symbolistic. If you look at it, like he's the sun. His soul is like the sun orb in the middle of like the sky. It's beautiful. Like the way his soul is set up. Outside of the dream, that it's pure. It's just still water, open sky, clouds, and his soul is just sitting there, beautiful and golden, as his little soul minions bring anybody whatever they want. And I just thought that was beautiful. Yeah. So.
Yeah, talking about those subconscious, I wish we had have seen what Zenitsu and Inosuke's, what are they called? Cores?
Yeah,
soul cores. What they had have looked like. Because, I mean, sure, we get to see it's in a cave or just in a completely black room, and, you know, Zenitsu's just killing people who isn't Nezuko in his brain. But I would have liked to have seen it because, I mean, you You call it the sun. I don't know if it's necessarily the sun, but I can understand why you'd see that. If anything, I think there is definitely a huge theme with his, as far as it's all very pure, serene, and just, I mean, not to be redundant, pure-hearted. I mean, that's why I guess his soul constructs, I don't know if that's what you want to call them.
That's a good word.
Their purpose is to merely just help, and that's all Tanjiro wanted to do. He just wanted to be there for his family, and now he's just trying to be there for his sister, and I mean, I don't know if we're going to see into their souls again, but I mean, it'd be interesting to see if they change at all through time, but maybe that's not the purpose of it. I mean, it was just kind of to present a representation. And even Rengoku's was really cool. I think his was just a clear, semi-clear orb, and then everything else was just on fire, which I don't know if that's just his passion or if that's...
Well, that's
something
weird.
Crazy.
Those kids were also like the kids who entered their soul also was like this is the first red one they've seen. So I'm also wondering. I mean, obviously not for Tanjiro, but if their souls are their inner cores are the same color as their swords. Mm-hmm. But I guess we'll get that in a bit because we have some theories about that. We talked about my favorite points. Like, what are some of your favorite points?
Seeing the representation of their subconscious in their dream realms were just in general pretty great. I enjoyed seeing them, seeing what they would look like, even seeing... I mean, this goes into some of the stuff we'll talk about a little bit later with theory crafting, but seeing Rengoku's father, I actually would have liked to have seen a little bit more, but I also understand that's not what this movie was about, and now they can really... if they choose to go into that next season. But it still would have been nice just to see a little bit more, because it's kind of crazy. He was, I don't know actually if he was a Hashira.
He was.
Okay, but then he just hard dropped it, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, what was up with that? Like, he must have either discovered something or had an interaction with something that made him full drop it, and then all of his interest left, like, fighting demons altogether.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know what that could be. I was going to say maybe he killed a demon kid, but I don't know if that's enough to push him that far. So maybe it was like a relative, I don't know.
like a Fire Force style, where like one of his relatives just suddenly turned into a demon.
Actually, in the ending fight, I did kind of like start laughing to myself, like, it's a doula! But, yeah, all the subconscious are really cool. Seeing Tanjiro deal with, I don't remember if they even told us the name, but the train demon, how he just kept putting him to sleep, and then he'd have to kill himself, put to sleep, kill himself, and then even to the point that he almost, I thought it was weird they didn't talk about it a little bit more, but I mean, he almost killed himself there. Just trying to escape the dream. He lost that line of reality.
What a good moment in a movie to just flash, and just show him repeatedly killing himself. And what an insane strategy, just be like, well, if I can't keep in the dream, I will just make you believe reality is a dream. Mm-hmm. And be like, I'll just kill you in the real world, because there's nothing you can do after you slash your throat in the real world.
Yeah. So that was a pretty crazy moment to see. I look over as our note sheets real quick. Yeah, Rengoku was awesome to see. I talked about the pacing a little bit before, but I mean, it's the idea that we get to see Zenitsu pop in, do some really cool stuff, and then he's gone for the rest of the movie. That just kind of bugs me. I mean, I understand why. I just wish they didn't have to do that, and that they could have fit some more stuff in there. We get to see a lot of Inosuke, a lot of Tanjiro, which is cool, a lot of Rengoku. Even a little more Nezuko, just because Nezuko's great. Who doesn't like Nezuko? No. But, yeah, I just wish we could have seen a little bit more of those people.
I was kind of hoping this would be Zenitsu's like time to actually be awake and fight. But, I guess he needs to go through something for that. Like, it just made sense. Like, dreaming, sleeping, now you're going to wake up out of it and be able to fight. But I still love his sleeping thing, because it makes his character OP while not being OP. Mm-hmm. Like, he's got opposite personality to his power, because I would say between all three of them, Zenitsu looks powerful when he moves at the same speed as Rengoku, and everything dies within his, like, was it Thunder Flash and Clap? or Thunderclap.
That sounds right.
And Flash, something like that. And he light speeded it up like 3 or 4 carts, killing all of the like tentacles, and then was like right next to Netsuko, and then was still like in proper control of himself then, and then back to sleep.
Yeah.
Like he said words and then dropped out. So I'm like hoping that subconscious, conscious like brain barrier like crosses over at one point and be like, Zenitsu, look how powerful you are. You know one form of the thunder breathing, and you're amazing. Like, you're faster than Tanjiro and Inosuke. Like, they both have their things, but your thing is crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, watching Rengoku move up the train at light speed and everything catching on fire was really cool.
I would definitely like to see him learn, I don't know, a technique. You know, maybe he's got to call, like, Gaara from Naruto and be like, hey, how'd you do that possum jutsu? But I just need something like that. I want him to... It's definitely that kind of thing, like, is he going to do something? Yeah. No, he didn't fall asleep.
Yeah.
I thought he'd go a little crazier in the movie. Like, immediately when they put him to sleep. But, you know, he's got to wait for Nezuko, so it makes sense. But,
yeah. I think it kind of wraps up our favorite experiences. I think I'm ready to go into some mad theory crafting with Johnny here. Because we've got some crazy ideas, and we're going to see if they're true. And if you listen to Lucky's podcast already, then you might have come here being like, okay, what do they think? Well, I'm going to start with our craziest one, and I'm sorry if this is a real thing, but we have not read the manga. So if this becomes real, great guess. Yeah. Okay, so we both think, and I think Lucky was kind of on the same page, that not the original, but the upper 6 of Muzan's like demon army were originally Hashiras. Or like some of them were Hashiras. Mm-hmm. Which, like you said, like they get a massive boost, and why they're always better than the lower 6. Was it like the 12 Kazukis or something like that? Like that's their name?
I was going to say, how many are there? I mean, because I thought there's lower 6 and upper 6, no?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then, I guess there's 12.
And why the upper 6 were always more powerful is because they already were trained warriors by the time they became demons. It just seems like it makes sense, although they did say they've been around for centuries, which is a long time. Mm-hmm. Long time for these demons to be going around eating humans. And I'm guessing well beyond the time that the lower 6 have been around.
Seems that way, yeah. I mean, they've had a couple even removed already from the lower 6, so I'm sure they've had a couple different changing of the guard, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, like, with them, is the lower 6 has been said by Muzan that they run away from Hashiras, don't feel like they're strong enough, they die to Hashiras, but the upper 6 do not. They've killed Hashiras. Now, we don't know. Maybe they're lying. Maybe there's been a few upper 6 demons that have, been interchanged or changed around. But, from what our information that we have so far, the upper 3 guy at the end of the movie said that the upper 6 have been around for centuries. So, which means that they have not been killed in hundreds of years. So, using that as our knowledge, maybe a couple Hashiras back then were offered the same thing that Rengoku was, and then we're like, yes, I'll take the deal. Just imagine the upper 6 power if they were originally Hashiras. Now, here's the thing. I don't know why they're not using swords anymore. You think they would be powerful using swords, but maybe it's a thing that they can cut their own head off.
Well, see, that's why, we only get to see the one, upper level demon. So I'm curious if, out of the silhouette, maybe one of them does have a sword, or if they use sword-similar techniques. I don't know. Maybe even just, like, hand chops. I don't know. But that's also why I don't think it's all of them. If anything, I'd almost say it's probably 1 or 2 could be ex-Hashira, and that maybe those guys went and just murdered a bunch of Hashira. But
because they already know the lowdown on them.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think I just don't think they're all Hashira. I think that's so crazy that like the whole class of 98 just said, no, we're stop being demon slayers. We're just gonna be demons.
You know what? Muzan's a Hashira. Everybody's a Hashira.
Yeah. It's just Tanjiro's dream. It's not even real.
Oh, I think we had. It's not on our list, but I think we had our outline. It's not really. I'm trying to remember. Our boss guy and we're gonna use casual terms. The guy who's basically melted from around here all the way up his head is blind, and it was being helped out at the beginning of the movie. Boss of the Hashiras. We had some loose theories that maybe him and Muzan were brothers, or like that maybe there's a previous connection that was let down because Muzan is also super old because he has to be around for centuries already because he's made all these demons apparently.
Yeah.
Which also seems weird. I want to know the backstory there because I'm like, who made him a demon? What's going on there?
I mean, for that matter, like, what's the deal with Nezuko, too? I mean, because she's just super abnormal. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, these theories all have kind of, like, slight holes, so, yeah.
He uses pinky finger instead of his first finger.
Pinky out.
Pinky, that's fancy. Johnny, the next one we were talking about was, like, the sword. Tanjiro's sword.
Yeah. That's definitely a mystery. I keep going back to maybe he's just going to find it in the forest, but that's also kind of weak. I mean, because we talked about it a lot, like what's going to happen with the sword. I mean, they can't just be like, okay, here's another sword, don't lose this one. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be, I mean, I was kind of thinking maybe it's just going to be trapped in the demon for some reason. Maybe no one will be able to touch it I don't know. Or maybe he'll just have it in him as like a trophy scar kind of thing. Like, that way I never forget that brat who, talked shit about us demons. But who knows? I'm definitely curious what's going to happen with it.
Hey, maybe Lucky posed this idea that the sword would have stalled him and then he would have died by the sun. Like, just long, like, seconds. Maybe it leaves us, like you said, a scar. So that was the only thing that couldn't be regenerated? I don't know.
Because he's maybe trapped in some kind of, like, low light. Because that's the thing. I definitely don't think he was worried about getting trapped in the sun too much. I mean, the sun, he was literally racing the sun. Yeah. I mean, like, it was coming up, and he was like, oh, I should still get out of here. Like, he's going to make it. So yeah. I just don't think he died.
Me either. Also, that'd be, me personally, lame death if he dies off screen.
Like, next season, like episode 1, there's like, oh hey,
yeah, there's just a sword in the ground and he's dust,
bunch of ashes, and my sword. I guess I'll pick that up. Thank you.
Yeah. We're curious about the next training arc, but I mean, like, we have no thoughts about that. Like, nothing except for maybe he's gonna go obviously to Rengoku's house and go look at those notes.
Yeah, look at the notes. I figure he might get trained by his father, but at the same time, I don't know if that's gonna be enough to really get his Rengoku's father up and going. So
I'm personally hoping he gets trained by a different Hashira, because he's already been trained technically by one in water. So maybe he goes to somebody else and gets trained again. But
see, that's the thing, though. It has to be fire, just because that's what they're leaning towards, which is another kind of theory. What is he going to be able to use 2 types? I mean, that's why I've almost been like, maybe he will get another sword, and then he'll get his other sword back, and then he'll start using, like, 2-sword style.
Oh, Johnny, I had the same theory, just before we started this today. I was like, oh, so he throws one sword, he pisses off his sword crafter again, that guy makes one more sword for him, and then he gets his old sword back, and then one's blue and one's red.
Yeah.
Because they said something about, I think Rengoku said, well, people who have black swords cannot decide on one style. Like, they're between styles. So I'm like, what, do they just need more than one sword? But then Inosuke has 2 swords, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's another Hashira that has 2 too. He's got, I don't know if they're connected by the chain. I don't even know what kind of they look more like daggers or anything. But
it's Darth Maul. No.
Right, there you go.
Darth Maul Hashira. And our last point is a counterpoint to Lucky, which, if he gets down to the bottom of this episode, good job on you, Lucky. We're watching you. Is, would Rengoku be able to defeat the upper third, this is not Jujutsu Kaisen, the upper 3, if he didn't fight during the train part? Like, if he just came off fresh? I still pose no. I don't know, Johnny, would you?
I don't think so either. I mean, the guy had just eaten, like, getting on the train, so he's automatically at, like, full strength. And like you've said, I mean, he blasts through some of those trains, all... I don't even know what train they were car they were originally in, but he blasts through at least like 4 of them just to jump to Tanjiro and be like, "Hey, we've got a plan. We're doing all this." And I guess in between that, he also stopped off at Inosuke and was like, "Hey, here's my plan. I got to run over to Tanjiro." Whoosh. So I just don't think it was a problem.
Also, during that entire time, no heavy breathing, did not seem out of breath, did not seem like he was tired at all. Now, I gotta be honest, that's what you would expect from Hashira. Because they should not be exhausted after doing their moves for even 30 minutes. Like, he rushed through 1 to 4. Like, his technique's 1 to 4. During his final bout with the upper 3, he went to form 9 and had a whole new esoteric art. Like, a whole new name. And even then he was out of breath because he was beat the heck up. Like, he was, eye gone, ribs broken. Like, that's why he was out of breath, because his body was broken. But he was not out of breath before that moment. So, this is why I don't think he would be able to tackle that upper 3, even on just a good day. Because, the upper 3 said that, hey, you're still a few years away from being, perfection. And even when he was fighting the upper 3, it took him to get an arm through his gut and the other arm pinned with one hand before he had access to this dude's neck. And even then, he only cut through half of it. So if that's what he was slightly tired, this makes me think that even at full strength, that's not happening. His neck's not coming off.
Yeah, I don't know what it would have taken to get him to be able to beat him. I mean, I'm even if he had weirdly just somehow known who he was going to fight, would that have helped? And I just don't think it would have. I think that demon is just crazy. Yeah. And I don't know who it's going to take to fight him. Maybe it's going to take a combination of someone who can do ice stuff, just freeze the healing, because he's got crazy Wolverine healing, and it's just gnarly. And I just don't think, I don't know, Rengoku's, he just couldn't keep up, unfortunately. And I don't think most of the Hashira can. So that's not anything against Rengoku. I think he just got screwed.
And that's the third one. And we know all the demons have regeneration that's insane.
Yeah.
Especially there's Muzan. And he must have insane amounts of everything. So
you gotta imagine he can do most anything that his underlings can do, but...
Absolutely. And we know he's got that weird, crazy arm that could eat things and change his entire, his pheromones. He changes his body down to a fundamental level. So,
in theory, he could just change an entire town, in minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, he just did that guy, in that first season, just turned him into a demon real quick.
Quick slash, yeah.
Move that fast. Done.
Yeah. So, I think that about wraps it up. I think both of us really enjoyed the movie. Again, our score was both 9 out of 10. And I think you'll enjoy it as well. You should absolutely watch the series before watching the movie. The movie is kind of standalone. You don't really need the series to enter into the movie. But you would be missing out on a lot, how Tanjiro meets the other two. And, where do you learn all these crazy sword techniques?
It'll definitely be a hard gap. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, wait, where'd that one Hashira go?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you will miss some stuff if you don't watch it, but... yeah, I guess it's not super necessary.
Yeah. I mean, we had a friend with us who went in... we had a friend who went into it blind, having never watched Demon Slayer, and she basically was like, I just wish that end Rengoku part wasn't there, and otherwise she enjoyed the movie. So, you can, if you have friends who, haven't watched Demon Slayer, I think they can easily go into watching the movie mostly fine. And maybe that'll get them to watch the series. And then you'll loop back around with them and, have something to talk about.
Yeah, Anime Josh has introduced, he just introduced 20 people to Demon Slayer, so I don't know. But he's introducing so many people, and they've all liked it, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Demon Slayer.
Well, anyways, that's been our review/spoiler cast, I guess, on Demon Slayer. As always, review, subscribe.
Oh. Yeah, subscribe, check us out. We're, what are those podcast sites we're on?
We're on a link tree, which I'll be posting down here below. We're on Anchor. We're on anywhere you find podcasts. We're obviously on YouTube. Actually, this will be on YouTube, so I don't have to say that part. But I will right now because I'm saying it. And we have a bunch of other podcasts as well out there on the Casual brand. We have Generally Casual, we have Casual Bros, we have Mental Health Casual, and of course we have Anime Casual and related podcasts for all of those. So, as always, everybody, we like to say at the end of our videos to keep
It
casual.
casual. Oh, I missed it. Damn it. I missed it.
強くな